Welcome to lesson number 86. Here we are for our morning meditation together. And I'd like you to go ahead and begin with your head supported on your bolster and your knees bent, your feet on the floor. Yeah, knees bent, feet on the floor. And then wrap your arms around the bolster. That's it. It's so important to work with the feedback. We're so accustomed to touching into a stiff place or a stretchy sensation and then going for it and trying to elicit a big change. But it's manipulatory by nature to do that. And we want to get away from that kind of manipulation to try to have a certain outcome in the body. A while back I talked about fuzzy goals, so you may hold a desire out there like, yeah, it'd sure be nice not to have this knee pain, or it'd be nice to really enjoy my walks. But just keep it at that high level, and then just let the yoga work for you. Just turn your head to the right. Nice slow turn. The shoulders drop, the arms get heavier as you turn. Your spine melts into the floor. And then once you've found a little resistance, once you've moved from that resistance a little bit, increasing the turn, then rest. If you can, keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor, and I'll read here some opening words from lesson 86. Only God's plan for salvation will work. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. I've seen it in many people and in many things, but when I reached for it, it was not there. I was mistaken about where it was. I was mistaken about what it is. I will undertake no more idle seeking, for only God's plan for salvation will work. And I will rejoice because his plan can never fail. Bring your head back to the center. Make a little adjustment on your hands. Maybe you bring them closer together. If they are interlocked, you can change the interlock of the fingers. And slowly turn to the left. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Just reminded of lesson number 24, which basically says, at no point do I have my best interest in mind. What a nice contrast. When I'm in my wrong mind, when I'm in my ego mind, under no circumstances, under no situation will I ever have my best interest in mind. Or will we have our best interest in mind? And only God's plan for salvation will work, which always, without fail, has our best interest in mind. And that's what makes our yoga an undoing. We're undoing restrictions in the body. We're undoing blockages to the awareness of love's presence in our mind. It's what we tend to do, but it is senseless to search wildly about for salvation, to search wildly about for happiness, fulfillment, to look outside ourselves for what will make us whole. See, in truth, there's nothing out there. We're chasing a belief. We're chasing down a dream. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Bring your head back to the center. Gently release your arms to your sides. And then you'll find your strap and bring the strap around the ball of the left foot and extend the leg up and away. We'll start with the left knee about the same height as the right knee. Hands high on the strap, so your fingers are going to do a little work. Open the sole of the foot, move the toes towards you. Try to get all 5 toes to cooperate. Extend the knee. Yeah, there's toes. They each have a little ego mind of their own. They're oftentimes uncooperative. But yep, we just plant the seeds. All right, and then slowly bring the leg toward your right shoulder. Now that's a long way away, so it's a directional cue. You got to keep the knee straight. You let the leg come toward the midline. Keep the flexion. But don't be so adamant about the move that it loads up the hamstrings or it loads up too much in the soft tissues. We've got to include the soft tissues with our intent to get close to the bone, through the knee, down into the hip. It's a great shape here because so often people try to accomplish, they try to stretch the hamstrings, they try to advance the shape or make it look like the way they think it should look like. And then it's really not helpful. It's not efficacious. But when we back off and get out of our own way and sink into the depths and let the restrictions come to the light of your awareness one by one, sometimes more than one, but oftentimes we'll just try to target one little blockage at a time. That way there's not too much complexity. That way your mind and your body and your nervous system can process it. We'll take refinement over any notion of advancement. Drop the shoulders, let your arms hang from your hands. Lower your foot. You may need to rest on your hands if you want, take that. Otherwise, put the strap on the ball of the right foot. Yeah. My plan for salvation, my personal plan, Oh, won't work. Yeah, raise your hand if you've tried that. Okay, open the sole of the foot, open the toes, extend the knee, and slowly bring the whole leg towards your left shoulder. Kind of a diagonal quality. It's okay if the heel turns to the right a little bit, the thigh turns in some. The hips have to stay level. You just anchor down. Yeah, we're taking the road less traveled by through your leg. That way we're undoing the blockages, getting out of the groove that your leg might be in and opening up more possibility bit by bit. In the same similar way, we're taking the road less traveled in mind. Like Robert Frost said, that makes all the difference. You know, God's plan for salvation is the road less traveled. All right, now lower your foot to the floor. And then scoot in, put your legs up on the wall, have your head on the bolster. Just have a couple minutes here. Arms at your sides, palms open toward the ceiling. Just rest heavy. I'll read the paragraph again. The idea, only God's plan for salvation will work. And we just want that idea to move with us. And we return to the idea throughout the day where we tend to search wildly for things that we believe are going to fulfill us. It is senseless for me to search wildly about for salvation. I have seen it in many people and in many things, but when I reached for it, it was not there. There may be a short period of excitement, a short period of accomplishment, like I did something, and then it just wanes. It doesn't last. We want what lasts. We want that feeling, contentment and wholeness and peace to really last. There's only one way to have it last. To realize that we were mistaken about where to look. I was mistaken about what salvation is, or what would make me happy. I will undertake no more idle seeking. Only God's plan for salvation will work, and I will rejoice because His plan can never fail. All right, now I have a guide. Less effort. See, the more we undo, the more we get out of our way. So we're doers, and we realize that doesn't work. Then we start to undo, which is the yoga. And then we start to be done through. Spirit, the voice for God, just moves through us. The thoughts guide our actions. Now bend your knees and push back and roll to one side. Have a comfortable seat. And here are the ideas, some suggested forms for applying this idea specifically. God's plan for salvation will save me from my perception of this particular situation. This is no exception in God's plan for my salvation. Yeah, see, anything we look to satisfy in form is a substitute. It's an exception for God's plan. And number 3, let me perceive this only in the light of God's plan for salvation. You might want to reread those or jot them down. Those are very helpful whenever we feel a little stuck. Let me perceive this stuck situation only in the light of God's plan for salvation. And with that idea in your heart, bring your hands to your heart. Namaste. All right. All right, welcome back to the evening version of lesson number 86. The second half is a review of lesson number 72, which says, holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. So we've been told that only God's plan for salvation will work. That was your meditation throughout the day, and now it's giving us a very helpful tip here that holding any grievance, big or small, will basically cancel out God's plan for salvation. It's still happening. The voice speaks to us constantly, but the raucous voice of the ego, just even the whisper of it is enough to cancel it out. It's the false power of the mind that can do that, or seem to do that. So today, or tonight, you'll start lying on your back again, knees bent, feet on the floor. And then you'll press into the feet, lift your hips, and slide the bolster right underneath your pelvis. Remember this? So the pelvis is supported, the low back gets to drop and taper away from the bolster. But just have that feeling for a moment. Arms comfortably positioned, your belly relaxing. Maybe you notice a little extra weight in your upper back. And then one at a time, extend your legs out. Okay, and so then you might feel a little opening sensation across the top of the thigh and the front of the hip, kind of an opening across the pelvis. Right, the bolster is acting as a fulcrum, not on your low back, but on the hip. There might be a little pinchy sensation in the low back, but that has to be more than tolerable. Okay, if it's strong, then push the bolster away a little bit towards your feet and see if that helps. And now See if you can possibly interlock your fingers under your head. If not, you're just out in the T shape. Good, and just lift the chin a little bit, relax your jaw, head heavy in your hands. Observe the shape with your eyes closed. Observe it from the inside out. And then let these words, these helpful words, just let them come through and land in a helpful place. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. Yet only His plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope, salvation, from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. The ego would say, see, I told you that was going to happen. I told you that won't work. See, I told you so. Whether we say that to ourselves or to another, it doesn't matter. And we're proving. See, I asked God for help and look what happened. Maybe there's another way of looking at it. That was a turning point in Groundhog Day when the character Rita said to Phil, after going through this, the miserable time loop. He even tried to kill himself multiple times, and that didn't even work. And Rita said, maybe there's another way of looking at this, Phil. And that's when everything started to change. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Yeah, in the first half of the movie, that's exactly what was holding Phil back, all the grievances. In little different forms, they were grievances. Go ahead and release your arms down by your sides. And then bend the knees and just push the bolster down underneath your thighs. So your rump comes to the floor. The bolster supports your lower thigh near the knee. And then lift your hips up one more time and move your tailbone toward the bolster. It's just a tiny thing, just like that. You set the lower back down first and then stretch your legs out again. So now there's a little more fullness on your backside against the floor. Arms out about 6 or 8 inches from your sides, palms up. Nose high, throat way open. Look back toward the wall behind you. And slowly, slowly, just a couple inches, no more, turn your head to the right. Look for the subtlest little twinge of resistance or blockage in the upper part of the neck and into the occipital ridge in the back of your skull. Yeah, just feel into that and give it lots of time. Slow down and let it resolve. One of the ways we get in our way is we try to just blast through. Oh, I know I can do more than that. No, let's slow down and wait for the undoing. Holding grievances is an attempt to prove that God's plan for salvation will not work. Yet, only His plan will work. By holding grievances, I am therefore excluding my only hope of salvation from my awareness. I would no longer defeat my own best interests in this insane way. I would accept God's plan for salvation and be happy. Just feel that acceptance and let it feel like waves going through your body. Those waves of acceptance really are limitless. Just give them away and feel it grow. Arms heavy, ribcage relaxed. Lift the chin as if to look toward the wall behind you and slowly move through the center to the left. Nice, slow, heartfelt movement. Yeah. Maybe some ideas just naturally come through that are related to this idea. Maybe a memory of how you witnessed a grievance obscuring God's plan for salvation. Here are the recommended specific applications for this idea. I am choosing between misperception and salvation as I look on this particular situation. Maybe something happened today that got under your skin a little bit. What a perfect thing to change your mind about. Do I want misperception, irritation, and grievance, or will I let salvation come through and see it differently? If I see grounds for grievances in this situation, I will not see the grounds for my salvation. The grievances hide the light. They hide the vision. And lastly, this particular situation calls for salvation, not attack. Would I rather be right or happy? And there is no right or wrong here in this world. Only thinking makes it so. A little nod to Shakespeare. Now bring your head back to the center. Yeah. Maybe this is a lesson you could have just started in bed. And if you're not in bed, go ahead and bend your knees and push the bolster away. Stretch your arms and legs. It's nice. Just let everything slow down. And when you're ready, roll onto one side. Push yourself up. Sitting comfortably, let's plant the seed for a good night's rest. A good night's rest with happy dreams. Knowing that grievances just hide the love and the light that comes through. And as an outer expression of that inner goal, bring your hands to your heart. Namaste.